show, where 6 and 7 figure CEOs build their purpose-driven legacy businesses through proven branding, marketing, and sales strategies so that they don't have to sacrifice their income and happiness for their mission. Thanks for watching the Life School Masterclass show. Join our Facebook group community of badass mission-driven entrepreneurs, and come back next week same place and time for our upcoming show.
Hello everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Life School Masterclass show, where you will find easy, no fluff, easy to implement business and leadership advice. I am your host, Ilona Lepari. I'm a former Fortune 500 CEO, turned into a mission-driven entrepreneur. So I'm so excited to be with you here again with another show and another amazing guest. I am particularly excited about today's topic because as I've come to find out more on the education of vision boards and manifesting and this whole amazing area that I think is so fascinating, I have an amazing guest and expert today that's going to dive a little bit more deeper into how do vision boards really work, and how is it that we could start implementing those into our life and business. So I'm so excited to have with me today Debbi Sluys. Am I saying your last name correctly?
Pretty well. It's a Dutch origin, and it's my husband's name, so you can butcher it. I don't care.
Okay. then I don't feel so bad. So Debbi, thank you so much for coming on, and I'd love for you to give yourself a formal, I guess, introduction. I usually don't like to introduce my guests because I feel like I'm always going to take something away from their journey. So feel free to tell us a little bit more about you and what you do.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm in Ontario, Canada, and I am a mama of 4. I have in-laws. Some of my children are married, and I have 3 grandbabies. And so that's been really, really beautiful in that as I've transitioned into this encore mission, I love that purpose and mission is part of your introduction. And I get to step into my mission-driven purpose. And I have freedom of time and freedom of money. And that stems back to being able to support people to create a powerful vision for their life. And so I am married, as I made fun of my husband. Actually, yesterday we were married 32 years. So we're going out tonight for our date night. And so that's really fun. And I was in childcare for 30 years. I was a not-for-profit. So talk about mission. That was really, very much supporting my board of directors with their mission to provide the best possible child experience for hundreds and hundreds of children, thousands probably, because I did over 30 years. I led a team of about 75. I had 4 locations that I was responsible for. And then 2 years ago, I left it full time. So I started my company 5 years ago. I did both for a while. I straddled both. And then I decided to take the big leap. This was pre-COVID, however. And I decided to give my board of directors 6 months notice. And that was January. And then March, COVID hit. And I had an moment where I was like, I just quit my 30-year career for in-person workshops. I have a physical studio that I couldn't access. I wasn't able to go around my province in Ontario, Canada anymore. Like, what am I going to do? And so what I did was, like so many people, I'd already taken a coaching program. I took another one. I took a very high level one. I invested in myself. So that was my number one, I would say, part of my success was I surrounded myself with extraordinary people, and I dug in to learn. And then I went online and I created a simple little workshop called a power word that really is a nice complement to a vision board. And I had this huge uptake, and I created clients from that. And so from there, it's just been the last 2 years have been extraordinary. And so that's a little bit about my story.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we have a similar journey for sure. And, I bet you that when you did leave the 30-year career that as I did 5 years ago, my 13-year career, it's like, oh my gosh, what are you doing to yourself? So I think the first couple of like 6 months is like that transition period is so scary and nerve-wracking. As you know, you have equipped yourself with lots of expertise and knowledge and experience, but of course, navigating like a whole territory of building your own business is definitely, there's a lot to learn. So I love that you invested. Same did I, and I never stopped. I think that's one of the keys to our success is really investing in mentors that are further down the journey in those areas that we would like to grow, so that we can really condense decades or years into pretty much, short term of learning, which of course will go through, the growth and all of that. We'll test and trial. The journey is going to be the journey for everybody, but it definitely, it's amazing when you find the right mentors to speed up that journey and to really give yourself that support that you need. So I think investing in ourselves as women entrepreneurs, especially, it is such an important, thing to do, so that we can have the success we want in life and business for sure. So Debbie, I love that you talk about vision. I speak about vision as well. I think vision is what, at least for me, spoke to me in my corporate world, and also, with building my own business, because I feel like unless you have somewhere you'd like to go, it's kind of hard to understand what kind of decisions you need to make daily, because you don't have that clarity of that like bigger vision that you're trying to build for your life or business or whatever it is, right? Because all the areas really interject with one another. So tell me a little bit more about vision. How do you help your clients create their visions? What do you feel personally? What's your perspective on creating a vision for your life?
Yeah, you've given me a lot to work with there, but I think what I'll pull out is the distinction between a vision and a goal. And often they're interchanged, like, oh, create a goal, create a vision for your life. But actually, in my philosophy, the way that I teach the vision boards, they're very distinct, and that the vision comes first. So the vision is like the dream that you have. When you have that, maybe you're sitting around with other like-minded women and you're just brainstorming and you're like, oh, what if, and it's that magical moment that you can feel it all in your body and the energy rises in the room. Now, sometimes that gets shut down, like, oh, that's just crazy, right? But with the right people, if you're doing the right work, you're like, I'm going to write that down so I don't forget it. That magical moment right there is a vision of what's possible. You have no idea how it's going to happen, who's going to help you, what it's all going to entail, but you've touched the magic of it. It's like divine. Now, a goal is the plan of action towards it. So coming back to reality is say, okay, so my vision is to, I'm just going to, thinking about a woman that I worked with, for example. She was in a corporate job, and also she wanted to create a line of food and get into cooking. She had no idea what that was going to look like. And so she went back to the present tense and was like, okay, so what do I need? Well, I need to start talking to the health unit. Just, I'm going to talk to my local government and see if there's business grants. I'm going to, anyways. It's been a year and a half, and she's left her 9-to-5. She's making pierogies. She's supplying restaurants. She's supplying wholesale grocers, and she's just rocking it. And it was because she had this vision, and she actually named the company in the legacy of her grandmother, who's inspired this cooking within her. And just got to work with one goal, one little step at a time. And the other piece of it, and you and I were talking a little bit earlier around, how our energy ebbs and flows. And it's when you accomplish a goal that you have that celebratory moment, like, the health unit just approved my application. Woohoo! Now, sometimes as A-type business people like me, I just go, what's next? Right? I forget about pausing and celebrating. And it's about taking the time to celebrate yourself, to acknowledge, like, I just did that. This is freaking awesome. Because it's that magic, again, we keep talking about magic, it's those feelings that promote that emotion, that actually send out the energy and vibration that's going to attract the next to you. So it's really important that you celebrate each step of the way, because that same vibration that you're feeling as you accomplish those goals is actually what you will feel in entirety when your vision is fully manifested.
Mm. Ooh, you also gave me a lot to go off on there too. I love what you just shared, and that's exactly what I've been trying to verbalize and articulate. And it's so, I love the distinction between the vision and the goals, because we do need both. So I'm sure you're going to tell us a lot more about that. But I love what you said with vision and that opening that we usually get like from events or when we meditate or when we are in our calm state of being. You know, we get that opening, you know, that idea, that brilliant, you know, aha moment. And, you know, it's like we have to grab that opportunity, because that's where, you know, that's where it came to us. So I love that you said that, write it down right away, and then don't even worry about how it's going to happen, because our brain is going to go automatically to like, I got this idea now, like, how am I going to make it happen? And then you start freaking out, and then you get all the negative thoughts and the survival mind of like, nah, that's too crazy, you know, all of that good stuff. Well, bad stuff, but good stuff is, you know, what we usually get, right? So really like keeping that opening with us so that we can actually, you know, implement that and start to make a plan of action, goals, things that we need to do. And I call that strategy. That's why I love the word strategy, because it's like intentional steps that you're going to take once you have that vision that came to you and you grabbed it, and now you want to cherish that and start to slowly manifest it into the actual action steps of the goals and the things that we need to do to move forward. But Debbie, do you feel like that vision comes to people authentically, and it's like something that's telling us like, this is meant for you to do this? I mean, we sometimes confuse this with, you know, like, I mean, for me, it's like once I get the vision, it's like it's speaking to me. It's like, I have to do this. It's part of my journey. So now I have to act on it. So sometimes I would intentionally sabotage myself, I notice, you know, when I get those visions, because it's like, I don't want to do any more work. Stop giving me visions, you know? So I think it can go on the other end as well. When you have like primed your mind, and there's so much into this stuff, obviously, as well, to receive the visions. But I feel like that's actually our calling, right? It's something telling us that there's something here for you. Listen to your inner wisdom and intuition and that vision that came, because if you take the right steps towards the journey, there's always something, you know, better on the other end. What do you feel about that realization that I've had not very long ago?
Yes. Now, I think one of the questions you said is I'm going to paraphrase, but is it natural? And I think that as children, we all have that. We have very much openness. Like that's why children, especially if they haven't suffered trauma, if they've had, you know, a fairly healthy upbringing, the world is their oyster. They're like, I want to be the queen. I want to be an astronaut. Like nothing is off the table. Like they dream as big as possible. They don't worry about how am I going to get the rocket ship. Don't I need training to become an astronaut? They don't worry about any of that. It's like they can see the end result. I want to be without gravity on the moon, you know? So we all, I think, are born with that. And what happens is life layers. And then like you talked about that brain, I call him the bouncer. The guy's like in our brain going, I don't think so. That sounds like more work. That sounds risky. That sounds scary. We're just going to keep you right here. You're not coming in, that idea. Like, And it's about getting used to settling that guy down and allowing to see what's possible and opening up to listening to your intuition, because I love that you call it your inner guidance, your inner wisdom, because when I follow her voice, it's always extraordinary. And I had it where when I first started my business, like opened my doors 4 years ago, I was using a lot of material from Jack Canfield. He co-wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. He's also written the Success Principles. And he's like the godfather of vision boards, if you see him on YouTube or whatever. So I flew to Boston, from Ontario to Boston, not that far, but still, you know, and again, I was just starting my business, but I invested in myself. I want to surround myself with the best. And I listened to and I participated in his seminar, One Day to Greatness. And I wrote in my book that day, I will do a big training with Jack Canfield. Declared it. The name of my company is Dare to Declare. I affirmed it. I declared it. I wrote it down. Shut the book. Never thought about it again for another, well, up until this past summer. I had an invitation from Jack's team, just because I had participated in other things, to be interviewed by him for his Success TV. So I could apply for it. So I told my story about how I have used his success principles, how my company now, Dare to Declare, has its own academy where now not only am I just doing it myself, I'm actually now have graduates who are certified to do what I do. And they accepted my application. And in this past November, I flew to Santa Barbara and I was interviewed by Jack Canfield on his Success TV. And I showed him my booklet. And I said, this is what I wrote 4 years ago. And he's like, get a shot at that. That's amazing. And I said, I think this qualifies as a big training. But here's the beautiful thing. It's bigger and better. And that's what often happens when I manifest, when I don't hold on too tight onto the outcome, and I allow the universe to bring to me. And I just keep a lens of gratitude. And that's something I haven't really talked about yet with you. I don't know if we're running out of time, but having that lens of gratitude, because when I'm just observing what's showing up in my life, I can be open to receive. And as I said, typically when I'm following my intuition, I'm surrounding myself with extraordinary people, I'm investing in myself, I'm staying true to my vision, what shows up is always bigger and better than I expected.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's all amazing stuff. Thank you so much, Debbie, for sharing all of this with us. And let's dive into vision boards then, so how do we take that vision, that opening that we had, and now we can utilize vision boards as a really great tool to really start that process going. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, I'll keep us laser focused so anyone that's listening or watching can get the most out of this. Most people think about a vision board like, what do I want to have? I want to have fancy stuff. I want to have this fancy life. What do I need to do to have that stuff? And then I'm going to be happy. And I would challenge, the way that I teach it is I flip it on its head. It begins with the be. Who do I get to be? So no, I'm not going to be happy at the end. No, I get to be her today. And so what does that look like on your vision board? The sense of freedom, the sense of liberty, the sense of peace and calm and accomplishment. What does she look like? So finding images that look like that. And then the doing is like the strategy, the goals you talked about. And then the have, holding it loosely, that's going to show up. So that's really a succinct way to talk about the philosophy around how I do a vision board. But in a real practical sense, I'm a big proponent of paper. Because as you heard before, I'm an educator. So I believe when it's in the hand, it's in the heart. Children, we don't learn best when we're just trying to Google the outcome. It's about discovering it through magazines, through flyers. And people say, there's no flyers, Deb, it's COVID. No, that's phony baloney. There are hundreds. You just have to have your eyes open. I was just driving back from Florida last weekend, and at the rest stops, there was like all these kinds of brochures. So paper, getting clear on what you really want. And I can't stress that enough. And that's what I coach. I'm been called the vision whisperer, in that I help to pull out that vision behind the vision, because our ego wants to go to the goal. We want to know that we can actually do it, to accomplish it. Secretly, we just want to be able to be successful. It's really scary to put something on your board that you have no idea how that's going to manifest. It's very brave. And so putting images on your board that are large, so you can see my vision board behind me, so you can see it from a distance, but it's also a declaration to the universe. This is what I want. And the last tip, I have more protocols, but not to create a collage. And most people even call them a vision board collage. I need to make t-shirts that say no collage, because I believe that it's all about the focus. It's about having the daily focus. And why would we give our brains this extra task to have to pull the images apart? So I ask that you leave white space around each of your images, so that just like a store display, if it was all full with mannequins and clothes, and you'd be like, oh my word, this is just a disaster, even though it's showing all the clothes. No, you want to have the eye have a place to rest so that you can take each one in. And so that would be another protocol that I would suggest.
I love the breakdown. And I think that's what's missing, at least from, my awareness on this, the be, the do, and then the have. so much we go for the do, and then we don't understand, how to do the other two parts, well, the first part, so that it could lead to the second and the third part. So that's why most people have disbelief about it. It's like, well, yeah, well, you mean to tell me I could just like put something up and then like it happens? You still have to do the work. So I love how you broke that down, and the work you're doing with that is really, really amazing. Well, Debbie, you know that we can go into so much more into this conversation, but I like to keep the show 20 minutes or less, so people really grab like the best of the information, those really great nuggets that they can, take away from all the information that you have shared with them. So usually at the end, I ask all my guests, what is that mission or purpose that you really feel like you want to put out there in the world, or you feel most pulled to really make an impact with other people?
Is that we see creating a vision as an act of gratitude, so that it's trusting that, in my case, I'm a Christian, but that God has everything exactly the way it's supposed to be, and that all things are going to work out for my good. So I'm not putting it as expectation, but as anticipation. I'm anticipating that amazing things are coming my way. And that's how, that's my mission, is to support people to create hope, love, joy through creating a vision board.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's really a beautiful vision and mission that you have. So keep up the amazing work. I wish you lots of success. And I really hope that our listeners are going to join you wherever you let them know that they can connect with you for all the amazing work that you are doing with creating creating vision, and then really manifesting that and through vision boards. Where is it that our audience can find you, Debbie?
Sure. I think the easiest would probably be my website, because from there you can reach me on all the social media platforms. I'm on all of them. So yeah, connect with me. There's a free gift actually on my front page of my website as well. So you go to debbisluys.com. There's an e-guide there with things I was talking about just now, 5 steps to create a powerful vision board. There's a scorecard. There's also an opportunity if you want to connect with me and have a free conversation, a discovery call.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing everything you did. And I have a feeling that we're going to have you back on our show again. Thanks so much for everything and for being on our show. And we've actually reached the end of our show today. Do me 2 salads, subscribe, and also rate our show so that other people can have access to this amazing content that we share here, and all the beautiful guests that are always joining us every week. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Bye, everyone.